Coming up on Mountain News this morning, Pathfinders of Perry County received a grant to help improve local trails that they say could help people's mental health while social distancing. And there has been a change in plans yet again for two major state parks in our region that will now be open to visitors sooner than expected.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, I'm Connor James. The time is just shy of 5:30 on this beautiful Friday. Let's check in with Brandon Robinson for a look at your forecast this morning.
Good morning, Connor, and today things are looking a little bit okay. We're going to continue to see a little bit of fog down to the south there, Cumberland Valley, back into southwest Virginia. The rest of us, though, some patchy fog around, so just be careful of that. Probably in between the sensors this morning. And temperature land, we're looking at basically 60s across the board. 67 Jackson Hazard, our warmest spots this morning. 62 in Middlesboro, one of our cooler spots as you head out the door on this Friday. Temperature change from this time yesterday. Well, we are seeing temperatures pretty much where they were yesterday. A couple of spots a little bit warmer, a couple of spots a little bit cooler. Our 12-hour planner today takes us basically into a similar pattern as yesterday. We'll see a little bit more rain chances today with that cold front, but still, I think it's scattered, and we'll see temperatures in the 80s one more time before we get a much needed, much nicer break as we head into the last days of May. Full forecast on the way here in just a little bit. Connor?
All right, thanks, Brandon. Now, I know I did say beautiful Friday. I just meant that because I am just so happy it's Friday. Well, this week, Kentucky schools got more guidance on what it might take to welcome students back in person. Superintendents were told to create 3 calendars with different starting dates 2 weeks ago. After that, Public Health Commissioner Dr. Stephen Stack told superintendents that reality may look like healthy students and staff members wearing masks and enhanced social distancing in classrooms and on buses. While a tall task, some Eastern Kentucky superintendents say they're going to do what's safe.
There's going to be some challenges, and there were challenges when we went to NTI because we were not an NTI district and had never done that, but we got a great group of administrators and teachers and staff that pulled that together really fast. I mean, within a matter of just 48 or 72 hours.
Now, Jonathan Jett says they are looking at several options and want feedback from parents and guardians here in Perry County. They are holding a poll asking parents and students for their input on back-to-school plans. We have a link to that over on our website, WYMT.com. Well, we've gotten a look at 4 scenarios UK is considering for the fall semester. They include a normal start, a delayed start, a hybrid semester, and a fully online semester. Administrators say their main goal is getting back on campus this fall. Although they are preparing a backup plan, some challenges do remain.
Is there going to be a second wave or a third wave or multiple waves? Are we going to see how are we going to react and respond to as we start to reopen and open the spigot, if you will? And so how do we pivot?
UK estimates it will lose an estimated $200 million of their more than $4 billion budget. Well, Kentucky basketball has added another marquee game to next season's non-conference schedule. Notre Dame will come to Rupp this December, the first game of a three-game series between the Wildcats and the Fighting Irish. The first game will be played in Rupp on December 12th. The second game will be in December of 21 will be played at a neutral site, and the final game in 2022 will be at the Joyce Center in South Bend. Now, this is video of the last time the two teams played. It was the Elite Eight matchup in 2015 at the NCAA tournament. The Cats won that 68-66. Unfortunately, UK would lose to Wisconsin the next game in the Final Four. Well, high school sports fans received some good news yesterday. The KHSAA Board of Control voted to eliminate their dead period from June 25th through July 9th. Most board members agreed that there was no need for the dead period this year since athletes have been on a dead period since the middle of March. However, a number of questions arose, including the question of how voluntary is a voluntary workout, in which most of the time kids make sacrifices to make all workouts despite the voluntary tag.
Being an ex-high school coach, and I know we tell a kid, oh, it's voluntary, but I'd sure hate to have a guy that's 1 and 2 on my depth chart, and one of them shows up and one of them doesn't. That I know we just put a lot of pressure on kids during that particular time, and that's again, that's not the purpose of the dead period, but it is definitely something that I think we'll struggle with if we eliminate the dead period.
The board also announced they would allow schools a preparation period from June 1st through the 15th. Well, Pathfinders of Perry County received a grant to help improve trail accessibility. This year's grant is an 80-20 match, which provides more funding, including equipment, labor, and covers erosion. Ben Brayman, chairperson with Pathfinders of Perry County, says these trails are more than just beautiful eastern Kentucky landscapes.
So being able to incorporate not just new recreation, but something for the kids to do that's healthy is probably the best thing we can do in this community.
Since the coronavirus pandemic, local high school students are unable to help out this summer, but Brayman says work on the trails will continue all summer long. Well, Lake Cumberland and Buckhorn State Resort Parks will reopen now on June 8th. The governor made that clarification last night after saying earlier they would open June 1st along with other Kentucky state parks. We told you earlier this week about plans for Buckhorn and 3 other state parks to remain closed to free up housing for people who need to self-isolate due to COVID-19. Some state legislators have said the move would effectively bankrupt some parts of the state, so the governor changed course. Well, a video shared thousands of times, serving as a lesson to many people about the on-scene impact of this pandemic. 2 families in Floyd County have listened to their kids beg to hug each other for the past few months. WYMT's Buddy Forbes spoke to those families about the emotional moment when that hug took place.
An act so often taken for granted.
I cried too. When you started to cry, then I started to cry. Yeah.
With the ability to help shoulder some of the world's weight.
We were kind of started laughing when they started crying because, wow, the thing that kind of set in, our laughs turned into cries. We were all bawling and crying when we realized what was happening kind of in that moment.
A weight that cousins Hucky Collins and Rosie Arnett have been carrying for months.
He's not been Hucky during quarantine because we can't get close. Yeah. And last night when we hugged, he was being funny again. He was being Hucky again.
Now the pair is glad to get back in the swing of things. Because while the isolation had Hucky feeling deflated,
it's not fun, really.
He was not alone.
I'm getting through this way better now. Me too. I was starting to get
and their parents were shocked.
Really down. I was getting depressed.
Because they did not realize how their kids truly felt.
They can't pinpoint and say exactly how they're feeling and what they're struggling with, but I think seeing that just like it just came out of them.
And how much that connection, in whatever form,
high-fiving people and fist bumps and all that,
helps even the youngest person.
I just think that people need other people.
Feel less alone. In Floyd County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT, Mountain News.
Arnett says the lesson he learned from the moment was raw and real, so the families are now sticking together and widening their net just a little bit to keep their mental health in check. Well, after 70 days in the hospital, including 25 days on a ventilator, one man in Wayne County, Kentucky, has survived a life-or-death struggle against COVID-19. Gary Abbott is a former principal and superintendent who was just moved to a rehabilitation unit at Lake Cumberland Regional Hospital. He tested positive for the coronavirus in late March. His kidneys shut down, his lungs struggled, and infections cost Gary all of his fingers and toes. Abbott spent 70 days in the hospital fighting the virus. 25 of those days he was on a ventilator.
I know in my heart the only reason that I'm here right now is because of God's amazing grace to keep me here, to try to inspire other people that, it's don't ever give up. Because if you give up, you're not going to make it.
Inspiring people he is. Abbott does not know when he will be released from the rehabilitation unit. We will keep you updated on his progress. And also in Wayne County, West Virginia, employees and patients of one nursing home are celebrating. As the last patient at the center originally diagnosed with COVID-19 has now recovered. Wayne Nursing and Rehabilitation Center says that 52 days after the first positive case, 38 patients and 38 employees have recovered from the coronavirus. In total, 9 patients diagnosed with the virus died, and one employee test is pending while they quarantine at home. The center says they are planning a celebration parade for patients and are working with the state and local health departments to finalize a plan to allow visitors at the center. Well, families were reunited at the Hazard Health and Rehabilitation Center Day yesterday afternoon. While they still cannot be face-to-face, the day still provided smiles and tears. WYMT's Tommy Poole was there to capture this touching moment.
The sights, the sounds, the message.
We've helped them make posters to tell their family members how they feel and tell them, they love them. They want a hug. They miss them.
Residents at Hazard Health and Rehabilitation Center were reconnected with families Thursday.
This is the first time that some of our residents have seen their family members in 2 or 3 months now.
Fire trucks, police officers, and their loved ones circled the facility.
The county judge actually contacted us and wanted to do a parade for our residents and the Veterans Center residents.
Laughter, tears, and messages were all shared, but most importantly, time stood still.
It's not the same, and it won't be for a few months now, I'm sure. But until that time, we will gladly take care of the residents and show their families all the support that we can.
Providing a nice distraction as we continue through a dark time. In Hazard.
Love you all.
Tommy Poole, WYMT, Mountain News.
The center also offers iPads for FaceTime and other ways for families to connect with their loved ones. It's important to note the facility does not have any confirmed cases of COVID-19. Well, just ahead on Mountain News this morning, we'll show you how Spotify users are about to see some big changes to their music collection.
And it's going to feel like a early spring type weekend with temperatures instead of a late spring type weekend. We'll talk about how cool we could get in about 3 minutes.